when we think of the term sister wound, a lot of folks will say, well, what does that even mean?
For me, it was very refreshing because that's how I learned.
Most of the time, I was in my own head judging my own self about my inability to do this.
I was even confused. I was like, we have wound. Remember you tried teaching me gara gara for so long.
Oh my God.
She's like, Maame, follow me. One.
I was like, 1, 2.
Oh, and then she said, now put it all together. I'm like,
no matter how ugly, we talked it out, even when it was rah-rah.
Yeah, unintentionally, but I just started to hold back. Like if I wanted to speak to you on anything,
I just need you to understand how terrible what you just did was. You know what I mean? And you'll be like,
you're a friend and a God and
then. So are we doing the gospel version? I can't riff like that. So thank you for being a friend. Thank you for joining me today, obviously, again, to talk about healing the sister wound. I wanted to talk about this really with the goal that anybody who would listen to our conversation about our journey together would be moved to call their own sister and focus on the healing. Because oftentimes collective healing is what people need. And sister wounds are something that a lot of people carry over time, much like a lot of other wounds, like a mother wound or a father wound. A friendship wound. So today we're focusing on healing the sister wound. How do we move past whatever tensions and conflicts to essentially grow together, which I believe that we have been on that journey for a very long time. So thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Here. Now, obviously you're my oldest sister. And so that just provides a bit of context. Just to provide a bit of a context here. You're my older sister. We're 5 years apart. We have a whole nother sibling in between us. And over the years, we are very different. Mm-hmm. We're different in personality. We're different in even physicality. Mm-hmm. And over the years, we've had to learn to understand one another, grow one another, and really just get to know one another and respect one another. And we find ourselves in very interesting stages of life. You recently went through a separation in your marriage, which is its own sort of discussion and growth journey for you, where we both have children. And so thank you for being here again.
It's always a pleasure to sit with you.
It's always a pleasure sitting with you as well. So let's just jump right into the hard stuff. When we think of the term sister wound, a lot of folks will say, well, what does that even mean? And so I'm curious to know, when I message you and say, hey, we should talk about healing the sister wound, I'm curious to know sort of what thoughts sort of came up in your mind and came up in your spirit about, one, what is a sister wound? And two, of course, we'll dedicate this discussion more and more to exploring how one or two or more can heal the sister wound.
Right. So when I got the call, at first I was even confused. I was like, we have wound, Mm-hmm. But also knowing that a lot of sister wound is, it's a topic that's out there now, and we're discussing it more and more. Mainly concerning relationships between women. Period. Mm-hmm. So not even blood relatives alone, but non-blood, relatives, just even acquaintances or work friends or, work relationships, dealing, with women. And so bringing it back home to you and I immediately started to think about our dynamics, right? The differences, that you and I both possess. And at what point in time, I started to realize, what a gift you are to me, mm-hmm. and how I can actually make that relationship mean something more than, you took my shirt today and I didn't want you to take it. You know,
there was a lot of that.
Oh gosh, too many to
You
count.
were so annoying.
And I loved your skirt, remember?
Oh my God. Can we talk about that skirt?
That skirt.
There's one particular black skirt that was
black and white, to be exact. Tweed.
There was one plain black skirt that I think I was angry with you for. I mean, I think I was even like in grad school. I'll think about that incident and like still tear up a bit, but I'm sorry, continue.
You know, so and even in that, you know, how we even related to each other during those times, you know.
It was all hilarious in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, looking back.
And then the cake, you know,
incident.
I think my 17th birthday.
Guys, it was your 16th and my
your 11th.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's off of the books. That's another story for another day.
It was a cake incident. Cake gate. Yeah. We'll call that cake gate.
Cake gate. So just realizing how, you know, that has really transformed into a beautiful and very non-judgmental relationship that we share now, you know, and even raising, you know, the 4 kids, you know, between the 5 kids between us together, you know, just being able to do that.
Yeah. How do you think the sister wounds arise? How do you think that 2 people can grow up in the same household, share either one or both parents, and still grow to have anger and resentments towards one another?
Honestly, sorry, but it's really the parents. It really, I believe, you know, parents really start to mold the relationships, you know. So if I'm going to get along with my sister, or I'm going to see my sister as a non-competitive, loving presence in my life. I almost called you entity. But yeah, you know, presence in my life. It's really going to be how our parents, you know, essentially, you know, stack us up against each other, you know. So is it, hey, Maame, that's your little sister, you need to protect her? Or is it, look how Nana does this, and Maame, you could learn a thing or two about how Nana does her things? Or, Nana, you should really try to be like Maame, you know, Maame is this, you know. So I strongly believe that that's where it comes from. It really comes from parents, you know. And
all of it, though? Do you think there's a portion of it that's just like character or personality?
I think that as a parent myself, you actually start to learn the personalities and the character that your children possess, you know, and but you also use your own understanding of parenting to, you know, gauge it. And so does it translate into other, you know, like other ways, or, you know, is it from other places? Like, you know, okay, somebody has a very unique personality, maybe that one too is part of it. But honestly, parents, I would say parents 80%.
I think that so what I gather from sort of what, like, where you're going, what you're saying is, I can imagine a parent who has a preference for a specific temperament that they often will see in one child and not the other. Exactly. I'm assuming there's 2. Let's assume that they see it in one child and maybe not the other, or the others, and unknowingly create a sibling tension, a sibling rivalry, by essentially praising one child over another, over something that is seemingly arbitrary to that parent in their adult mind, but don't take into account that a child, you know, is in it, right? Like where you are in your childhood, where you are in your progress and your development as a person, you are in that relationship with your sibling. And it's crazy to me how much parents don't see everything. Right. So parents don't see everything. So they don't know everything about their children's dynamics when they're not around or they're not looking or they're not paying attention. And if, as a parent, if we're not parenting in such a way where we're in community with our children, where they can come and tell us, just, play out who they truly are in front of us, there's a lot that can be missed. And a lot of times what is missed is that enmity that can be created because as parents, we're maybe not paying attention or giving attention to the emotional dynamics amongst our children.
I agree.
And a lot of times, imagine growing up not knowing what your sibling thinks about you.
Right.
Because a lot of the things that we feel, the resentments that we hold, are based on the stories we tell ourselves.
Exactly.
I remember the first time I read Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection, there's a section in there about the stories we tell ourselves, right? That there is a whole book by, I forget the name of the person who wrote this book, but it's this idea that humans are a storytelling species, a storytelling animal.
That's it.
And so the stories we tell ourselves, we can tell ourselves so many stories. Like, I think back and so while in preparation for this, I was like, what stories did I tell myself about my sister that may have helped or hindered our relationship? And I think that for me, being the younger sister, I really idolized you at some point in time in my life. I don't know if you know that, but I really idolized you, but I wasn't sure how you felt about me.
Yeah.
Because I was the little sister and we're 5 years apart. I wanted to do everything that you did, but I wasn't very clear that you even wanted me around.
Yeah.
And not like an indictment of your personality, but that's just like, you tell yourself that, or she probably doesn't even want me
Exactly.
here. I don't know, but I wanted to be.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So how much of like the storytelling do you think, like, I'm just curious to know, like, what were your stories?
So one of them was, I always felt that as my younger sister, I had to protect you.
Yeah.
I had to shield you from the cruel world.
Yeah.
I.e. parent.
The cruel, harsh world.
Yeah.
Like parental pressure.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
All of it, and, I wanted to model almost like a very positive, idealistic image.
Yeah.
And now I think about it, I'm like, I could have just spoken to you, but for me, it was more, oh yeah, no, Nana can't go through the same things you went through. No, this is how Nana's is going to be. Nana has to be better. I have to make sure that Nana is better, at everything, And so, because of that, I took on a like almost motherly role for you, and didn't really understand that I just needed to be a sister, and actually that it's okay to speak to you frankly and openly, and just get your understandings on things. And then another story that I told myself, when you actually got into your teenage years and you have this face, I was very stoic. Yes. I always said, oh yeah, Nana really doesn't like people, or she doesn't want to be around people, or, then I started to actually hold back, unintentionally, but I just started to hold back. Like if I wanted to speak to you on anything,
So if I may, so I think it's interesting because I think in that period, I definitely felt that pressure of like, why could you just like giggle with people and be likable and stop being, but now looking back, what I was dealing with was severe social anxiety. And like the stoicism came from a need to essentially disappear or like be invisible in a sense. if I can, and it was my way of sort of isolating myself from the deep social anxiety I was experiencing. And most of the time I was in my own head judging my own self about my inability to do this, or like, am I fat? Am I this? Am I too this? Am I too that? Am I taking up too much space? I was just, that was my thing. Am I taking up too much space? And so I worked very hard not to take up space. And the way I did that was to just quiet myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, temperament has a big part to play with that. Obviously, I already came into the world a little bit more introverted than you.
Yeah.
But during that period, it was interesting. It's interesting how, as we go through things, the stories we tell ourselves, the stories others tell themselves about you, it's very interesting as we talk about it, what is revealed, because I was trying my hardest not to be a nuisance. And so that distance was my way of, I don't need to intrude or bother anybody else as they're going about their life, because I'm just not an important part of their lives.
Yeah.
So it was my own sort of way of being invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I thought that he had been given everything. Why wouldn't you,
Be happy and
be happy? Yeah. And just, it took me a long time to understand that. We're very different as far as, social acceptance and social interactions, and we're like, reactions, very, very different, and now, like, it took a while. It really did. It wasn't something that I understood right off the bat, or, was so evident to me. I always questioned. I was always like, why is she like that and like this? Why can't we just, why can't she just be open? So yes, I was reading your
you need to like separate.
You need to separate, but I was reading it from a more selfish. I felt you were being selfish.
Yeah.
I didn't see it as, oh man, maybe she feels like she can't get close to me or the rest of us, or this is just Nana. This is just how, maybe processing wise, how she goes about her things,
or just journeying.
Journeying, exactly.
So now that I'm older, and obviously I can look back on it and say, oh, I was going through depression and anxiety as really a child, in my teenage years specifically, and it got better in my 20s as I started doing my own self-work. So because my self-work really started in my 20s. But what does it take to build that understanding? Because you say that you had to come around to understand. And so I'm curious to know, for people who are listening to this, to say, oh, that kind of sounds like me and my sister. One's more of an externalizer, the other's more of an internalizer. I'm an introvert, she's an extrovert. And we can't ever seem to really understand. I don't understand her reactions. I want to talk a little bit more about building that understanding. How do we, because we're in such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And we've been in a beautiful place for
quite some time.
I think over maybe 15 years, maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
Hint, hint on how old we are. But I feel like it's been pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And so, but through that, what I've seen between us is how evolved the way we deal with conflict.
Yes.
Has really evolved.
Yes.
I think one thing I've never been afraid with you is, once I started talking about my feelings, I've never been afraid to come and tell you how I feel about what you said, even when I was very little.
Yeah.
Before the years where I completely shut my emotions off. But I feel like one of the steps was being able to say, even if I wasn't nice about it, I was able to say, I just need you to understand how terrible what you just did was. You know what I mean? And you would be like, but the upside, I think so many of us are afraid of conflict. But I remember back then, still feeling a need to be respectful even in how I express that.
Right.
Never crossing the line on name calling. I don't know if you, like, you being very intentional about that.
Yeah.
And saying, I'm going to tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what you're going through.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the times that I've gotten close to crossing the line where I had to learn that it wasn't healthy. And, you know, shout outs to really great sister friends around us who've also sort of held us up and said, you could talk to your sister a little better.
Exactly.
You know, you could have done this, because I remember there was one particular conflict we had, and my response was, I think something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, I was saying that she was sick. I was like, are you sick? Like, are you mental? And you were so offended by the fact that I had suggested that you were crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember mentioning to my best friend, like, I was saying it boldly. So I told her she has mental issues. And she was like, but do you realize how that flagrant that actually is?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, a huge part of coming into understanding is that no matter how ugly, we talked it out. Even when it was rah-rah,
Yeah.
we were expressing ourselves.
Yeah.
Even when it was aggressive, even when it looked crazy, like, why are you arguing with your sister like this?
Yeah.
To me, that was something, like, because looking at where we are, I feel like we built on that.
Yeah.
We built on the fact that we weren't afraid to conflict with one another and contend.
And it's okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's completely okay.
And I think a huge part of healing, okay, I should probably go back to the question I was asking you, which is, because I asked the question and I answered it.
Yes, I did.
I know, podcast host. What do you believe is sort of, how does one build on it? For me, I believe in contending. Like, contend, but contend in a healthy way.
Right. So I'll say something real quick. I remember your conflicts with the sibling between us was for me, it was very refreshing because that's how I learned both of you.
Like how we deal with
conflict,
difficult situations.
Exactly. You know, what are your pressure points and what his are. That's how I learned you in the beginning. And then, of course, self-help and self-work also, played a part, counseling and, going through therapy.
On your own journey. Going on your own journey. Yeah.
Also helped me to uncover ways that I could be better at life, at being a sibling, at being a sister,
I love that whenever we talk about any type of relationship, whether it's with your spouse or at work, it always circles back to work on yourself. Like, yes, the person, right? Like, be a good person and be a healed person.
Yes.
Be a connected person. And then, like, a healed person is a healed spouse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
A well-adjusted person is a well-adjusted sister.
Exactly.
And so it's very interesting whenever we talk about conflict, because that was, I think, the biggest revelation, because I was spending so much time being so mad about, and then you said this and you said that. And I think someone may have been the sibling in between us, because this is how siblings argue. You fight with one and you call the other. The
one that you're not fighting with.
The one that you're not with. That particular day, who I'm not fighting with is who becomes my ally.
Yes.
And you're like, what your sister did, that sort of thing. And I remember having this conversation with our brother, and his response being, but you seem to be in conflict often these days with a lot of people in your life. So, like, is it you? And me being like, maybe there's something there. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I love that whenever you talk anything in life, you're like relationship goals, sister goals, this, that, and the third. It comes down to like the individuals in that relationship.
Yeah. Do the work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unpacking. There are also a lot of ugly truths that you have to face, whether you like it or not. I remember when, we had one of our, monumental moments when I was 20, and you were 15, and, you became an aunt, you know,
Yeah,
and
as a child.
as a child, and you know how I expected you to understand what was going on, and how you looked at me, and you know you were you didn't have the words, but at the same time you could see that you're going through a lot with all of it. You know, I could see that you're going through a lot with all of it, you know, and just understanding that just because I have, you know, brought a child in doesn't mean that everyone needs to accept it right away as, you know, life changing for them.
The paradigm shifted. And you're right. I became an auntie at 15 with no such expectation of being an aunt at 15.
Right.
I still needed nurturing.
Yeah.
I still needed to be taken care of, even at 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so going through that process, and a lot of times you're just echoing what's being said around you.
Right.
So I think for that, I also want to take time to like apologize for how I may have made you feel during that period out of my own, like, I don't want to say childishness, because that's not fair to that period, but just out of my own like state.
But I'll tell you this, I didn't internalize it. I actually saw that I had let you down.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking about. And oh my gosh, like because at that point it was very clear to me how you felt about me.
Yeah.
You know, and so doing that or bringing that in, I think it took me about 3 years to actually realize that I felt I had done you wrong.
Wow.
You know? And so I needed that moment to say, I apologize that I didn't live up to the expectations you had of me, you know. And once I was able to come out and say that, I really think that's also part of, you know, the journey,
the healing,
you know, and that's where, you know, it became beautiful. And, you know, I think after that, that was our last blow up with each other.
The last big blowout, I think, was like, I want to say 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like where we couldn't just talk it out.
Yeah.
And move towards something. The last time I feel like but even
it was
then,
longer.
I feel like it was 10 years ago.
Maybe
I feel like it was 2013. Okay. But the reason you probably don't really remember it is because it was the last blowout, but I think it was the first time there was a real reconciliation or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we didn't just leave it.
And that was something that used to annoy you about me.
Yeah.
Sorry, something that used to annoy me about you.
Yeah.
Was I would I'm the kind of person, if I have an issue with something, I want to talk about it. I'll talk about it. Let's keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And you're very much like, no, this is too emotional for me. I can't.
We're done.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like and I'm like, but what do you mean it's okay? You know, let me talk about how I feel. You just said how you feel. You know,
hear it.
Didn't want to hear it. That was probably like, that used to really, really bother me.
Yeah.
But then as I've also grown, I think we've sort of converged to a place of I don't belabor things anymore.
Yes.
And you're a little bit more willing to contend.
Yes.
I think that's the meet in the middle part, is that I've cut down the let's talk about it from following you around the house and shouting and being like, but I want you to talk.
Yeah.
And you have been able to slow down and say, okay, I'm going to have hard feelings. I'm going to have hard thoughts about something.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
I think that contending, right? Like being willing to contend. And if you have an issue,
that's really helped us blossom, honestly.
Yeah, you got to be willing to contend and be fair. Like practice fairness in that contending. Remember that you're on the same side. Like at the end of the day, we're on the same side.
Exactly.
If you can actually determine that you and your sister are actually on the same side, you see things differently, but you're fighting on the same side of the conflict. we want the same thing. And right. I want to heal. I want to forgive. I want to move on.
Yeah.
I want our kids to play together and not get whispers like, when you go to Elsie's house, don't eat.
Yes.
I actually hear like my mom and my auntie say that about other aunties. Yeah. And so it's like, being and I didn't want that.
Yeah.
For my children to have this, because of our family history. I think we all told ourselves we don't want to imagine a future where our kids are no longer in each other's lives because of some drama that went down between us.
Yeah.
And I think that was always in the back of our minds, that we needed to fix it no matter what.
No matter what.
You know what I mean? Because of seeing, our parents contending with their siblings and things getting messy and a lot of pain being carried and being carried down to the next generation.
Right.
And I think us as siblings, not just you, but like our other siblings who we have lived with, kind of always had that in hand to say, okay, so like here's like this thing that annoys me about you, but for the sake of what we wish to build together, for the sake of our legacy, I think that's the same. When I talk about being on the same side, I think that's the same side of the line that we always fought on.
Yeah.
What's up, YouTube? It's Nana Konamah here again, here to remind you that if you want more of what you see here, where you really need to go to is nanakonamah.com. Why? Because that's where all the fun goes down. There you will see past blog posts and even other content like my recipes. Be able to even access other content that you won't find on YouTube. That's where all the fun happens. So hop on over to nanakonamah.com and learn more about what I do. In addition, find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, send me a DM, follow me, and join in on all the discussions, because we are out here healing what? Greatly.
I think you're right. As far as being able to fighting differently but arriving at the same destination or answer. And I think that that's where we also find our unique talent and our unique abilities. I love that you are who you are, and you've rubbed off on me. And I think we joked about it very recently that, hey, Maame, these days it's like you're more like me, and I've taken up you, and that's just because we realized, wait a minute, you have great qualities that anybody should be able to, emulate. Tap into or, emulate, and so why not?
I'll tell you something. I used to get annoyed by how playful you were.
Yeah, I'm still very playful.
That really used to. Like, when you're trying to
that's not going anywhere.
When you're trying to be serious, and then you're jumping around, hopping around.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to move into the next segment of this.
Sure.
We're gonna have a little bit of fun. So, what we're gonna do is you pick up a question.
Okay.
And you ask me. So I'll let you go first. Okay. Throw it back in. Okay, you didn't pick that one. All right.
All right. What is one thing you'd like for me to know about myself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like for you to know that you are a really good person, a good mother. You're actually the model of motherhood I try to emulate.
Wow.
Yeah, in many ways.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Can I go now?
Yeah, go.
Oh, this is a terrible question. Describe a moment you feel you sacrificed for me.
Sacrificed.
Yeah, like you made a sacrifice for me that I may not know about.
Oh my gosh. There are many.
Choose one that's like, podcast worthy.
Okay. I'm having difficulty because I don't think I think of anything as a sacrifice when it comes to you.
Yeah, you just think of it as what you're meant to do.
That's what I'm supposed to do.
I'm glad to know that.
Period.
I'm very territorial about the energy.
Yes, you are.
I'm glad to know that it's not a sacrifice.
No, never.
Because I like to eat up all your time anyway.
It's never been. I have never felt like, I have to give this up, because of Nana, or because Nana needs this. No, I just feel like this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I have to do for Nana. Period.
Wow.
Let me pick another. Okay. What's one moment we've shared, you wish we could relive?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. Oh my God. This one's hard because I feel like there's so many moments that let's do Bali again.
Bali again. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And it's probably the most recent thing we did together. That was a blast.
Yes.
But also there was this other day last summer we were both back in Washington, D.C. and we took our kids just to hang out in Old Town Alexandria. Got like ice cream cones.
Yes.
That I wish I could do that again. And because we can, but it was just a good day.
And the bike ride.
The bike ride.
Any day, anytime.
That was really great.
Anytime. We have a lot of good
ones. Yeah, we've had a lot of great ones. But ones I would love to redo in the same format, Bali's definitely high. Like going to Bali together.
Yeah.
Was definitely high on the list. I feel like there's
your wedding.
That was great.
Oh my gosh.
We got into an argument before the wedding.
Yes, we did.
But we got over it.
Yeah, we did. It was a great time. My wedding, you jumping on the bed, that part, I wish we could
do that all again.
Same way.
I feel like there's so many moments. So it would be definitely Bali. I think any moment we spend together with our kids.
Yes.
That one is always a plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that you do for me. Oh, I can't even think of all of them because they've all been so amazing.
We have moments. South Africa trips.
I was about to say, I think any trip we've taken together is always a blast.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think Bali tops the list.
Bali
tops the list.
Bali's at the top.
Let me see. Ooh, this one's good because this is also like, how well do you think I know you?
Okay.
So it's like, how well do you know how well I know you?
Okay.
So it's, what is my favorite attribute of yours? Like, what do I like about you?
Being a mom.
No. Attribute.
No, attribute. What do you like about me?
Yeah. What do you think I like about you, basically? That's a good one.
You like that I'm non-judgmental?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't going to go that deep. I just like your eyes.
My eyes. That's what I was thinking. But I was like...
Yeah, you're overthinking it.
Yeah, I know.
Your eyes remind me of my daughter's eyes.
Yes.
I feel like you have the same eyes.
Yes.
Well, she has your eyes.
She's my twin.
She decided to go look like my sister.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's that.
Thank you.
We're not done. You're welcome.
I like that you like my eyes.
Yeah.
Name one thing about me that makes you proud. I can go first.
No. There's something in you that I also think I possess, that I also see in our siblings and my parents as well. And that's just like your general, I ain't going out like that factor.
Yes.
Facts. Like, I ain't going out like that.
Facts. No.
Right. It doesn't matter what you go through.
Yes.
You're like, I ain't going out like that.
Yep.
I really like that. But I see it in most people related to us, I think.
Yes.
Well, at least within our family unit, I see it in our parents, and I definitely see it in the rest of our siblings.
I was actually going to say I like how competitive you are.
Am I competitive?
You are.
Yeah.
You really are. And you are really go-getter. Like you think it, you go for it. and I love the way you process things. I think it's
over processing.
I mean, it can't. Well, sometimes, yeah. But it's so beautiful. Like, Nana might say, "Oh, I want B," but like she will think of all the steps,
Yeah.
and read books on it, and educate herself about it, and find the resources to get her to B. Like that's so beautiful because I'm always like, okay, me, I think it, and I just start doing it. But you're, like really the one that, you want everything to kind of lead to the point where I'm just like, yeah, let's just go.
Let's just jump in. But I also kind of like your get up and go. Mine is like a get up, process, think through it,
But I think
make
it's so
sense of it,
beautiful.
and then go.
I think it's wonderful. What is something you enjoy doing that I might find surprising?
Oh wow. No, that's not surprising. I was going to say like crochet and knitting, but you wouldn't find that surprising because you know that about me.
Yeah. But I was surprised that the blanket you made for our niece,
Yeah.
and then you made one for my best friend, but not for me.
Yeah, because years ago when you started crocheting and knitting, you didn't give me Nan. So
I didn't even make any. Oh yeah, I made a muffler.
you made a muffler for the dog. No, you made like a crochet dog shirt. You made a shirt for the dog, and I didn't get anything.
Well, it's all love.
Something I like to do that you might find surprising. I feel like I tell you a lot.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's anything that I enjoy doing that might shock you.
Let's see, what do I enjoy doing that might shock you?
Yeah.
We do talk a lot.
We talk constantly. So I can't think of a thing that I like to do that you might find shocking. Listening to opera. You're not surprised.
I'm not surprised because I like.
We both like classical.
Yeah, I
music.
like classical. We like classical music, and I really enjoy musicals. You know that.
Yes, we both like the Sound of Music was something we bond on.
Lion King, Live.
There's
Phantom of the Opera.
I don't think
favorite movie.
You might have some things in the pocket, but I don't think there's anything I enjoy doing that would necessarily surprise you. What might shock you is that I absorb and I take on a lot more of like general life advice that's given to me.
Yeah.
I've taken a lot more lessons from you than you're probably able to.
You're right, because I was surprised when you said that I'm a mom that you actually
model a lot of my motherhood up against.
That's shocking.
Well, you have to understand that, like, for me, I mean, you had a child when I was still a child, so you were like one of the first mothers outside of like our parents' generation that I knew personally.
Yeah.
And then also, you took certain steps with my nephew that to me was like, this is heroic, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Before you, I didn't even know that you could like go with your child to therapy and help them process emotions. You took his emotional well-being, his mental well-being very seriously.
Yeah.
That I had never seen that. So when you did that, that was to me like, oh, this, I can actually, already I was learning so much from you, but right there and then I was like, I can learn so much from how she's parented.
Yeah.
Is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn.
Okay. Ooh. Am I more like mom or dad? Are they gonna watch this?
Oh gosh.
We should play this for them.
Yeah. You are. That's a tough one. I can't say you're more like dad or more. Yeah, no.
Choose the qualities.
Yes, I would say that you are more like dad.
Okay, in what way?
You know how, we can talk to dad, And he processes
Yeah.
a bit better.
A bit more in the logical sense.
In the more, yes.
My mother's definitely more of the emotional, but she
Emotional.
carries the emotional burden of the
Right.
family, which has obviously.
The only reason why
pluses.
I didn't say you're more like mom is because
I stopped myself.
yes, and mom, you know, carries it thoroughly, you know, all the way to the end. I ain't going out like that.
I ain't going out like that. You know, both my parents have their own version of I ain't going out like that. But in that regard, would you say you're more like mom because you do take on
I am more like mom when it comes to that.
Yeah, like
Emotions,
feelings.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is healthy balance.
Yes.
I think.
But more like mom, but I also know how to
pull it back.
And think a bit.
Just a disclaimer, my mom is not crazy or anything.
Mommy, we love you.
I'm joking.
You're the best.
I'm joking. But I get the sense that I'm a lot like Daddy.
Yeah.
In many ways. Many ways. And mostly the analytical
Exactly.
sense. Very analytical.
Mom says I'm more like Dad emotionally.
We need to have a whole nother podcast. That would be a secret podcast that we just record.
Said, Dad said.
Mom said, Dad said. And literally, like, just you and I, and we'll just listen to it in, like, the closet with nobody. Because, you know, what siblings know about... Only siblings know the kind of parenting anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But okay, it's your turn.
My turn. What's one thing you love to hate about me?
Oh, my God.
This should be interesting.
Your mom jokes. Your corny. Your jokes are corny. But here's the thing. I feel like
I'm pretty funny.
You are. You're goofy.
Yes.
And that's what I love to hate because I love it when it serves me. But I'm annoyed with it when I feel like I don't need goofy right now. But like, because growth, because understanding, I recognize, that's how she is. Like, I don't have to like it. I don't have to like it for it to be appreciated.
It's crazy because I also, what I hate to love, or what I love to hate about you is how serious you are all the time.
I'm not serious all the time.
Exactly. But when I'm being goofy, I expect you to also...
to like journey with you. That was actually one of the big things we used to fight about because you could not understand why I couldn't... Like, I couldn't understand why you couldn't be serious. You couldn't understand why I couldn't journey. So it's like... But I think we've learned to journey with one another. Okay, my sister needs a little bit of that bouncing off the wall. So I'm going to give you, like last night at church.
Yes. That was funny to me because you were never the, the touchy-feely.
Or make jokes.
Yeah, or made jokes or anything. And you actually touched me. I felt so special.
It was like my finger. I was like,
it was a finger, but it meant the world to me.
It was the fingertip.
Because I know I always bothered you with, like, I just come over and hug you and you're like, Mommy.
Did it feel full circle? Because I feel like back in the day in church, I was the one telling you to be quiet. Yes. And yesterday I was the one making the little whispers. Yes. It was a good message. The preacher wasn't boring. I was just being very good. Goofy and silly at church.
And I loved it. And that I was like, wow, she finally sees me.
I see you, sis. I see you. I think there's one more left in here. This is a great way to end this discussion. Well, at least this segment of the show. Who do you think is a better dancer between us two?
Secretly, it's you.
Yeah, people don't know that.
Yeah, and that's annoying. Because people should know how well you dance. Like, you're a really good dancer.
Yeah, I'm a great dancer.
Remember you tried teaching me gara gara for so long.
Oh, my God. Is it gara gara gara?
Gara, what is it?
Guara guara.
Guara, see?
Guara guara.
That shows you how I do it.
She does it how she says it.
I mean, she's like, Mommy, follow me.
I was like, 1, 2.
Oh, and then she said, now put it all together. I'm like...
It was...
it just didn't go the way you have planned.
It was akin to everything you could do wrong.
Yeah.
You did wrong in that
Yeah.
session. Well, thank you for affirming that I am a better dancer.
Yeah, girl, you are.
I
got me beat.
appreciate you.
Hello.
How well do you know your sister?
How well do you know Nana? So, what or where is Nana's favorite restaurant?
It's a trick question.
Ooh. So, it's a what or where? You can name it or you can name.
In America, True Food Kitchen.
This is true.
In Bali, Sage.
Sage, yes.
In Ghana, she orders from Satoku all the time.
Ooh, not anymore.
Not anymore. You switched.
It's too expensive.
So where?
I think anywhere in the world, my favorite restaurant is home.
Home.
But
Indeed.
if you are being specific, every place you mention is about right.
There's something just gives us shock.
Yeah.
See?
I'm gonna say, the way the cities look,
Name Mommy's favorite clothing brand to wear.
Don't shame me.
Your favorite clothing brand?
Favorite clothing brand.
You like Siva, no?
I like Siba, but
You like
Poku, I think.
Poku?
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
I have most of her pieces.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A lot of.
I didn't know
pieces.
Poku is your favorite brand.
Yeah.
This is free advertising.
Free advertising. So hit me up, send me shirts, send me dresses.
Send the things. Send the things.
I almost wore one of her dresses today for this,
nice.
and now I was like, let me
Nice.
switch it up.
Okay, Mommy.
Mm-hmm.
What is one thing Nana cannot live without?
Earrings.
I can live without earrings. I wear them often, but I can live without them.
One thing you cannot live without.
Yeah.
Linen.
Oh yeah. I mean, I fucks with linen for sure. Linen. You see my expression? Like, yeah. Can't live without linen. You're probably right on some, but I feel like there's something else, something deeper.
Something deeper. God.
I mean, clearly, easy peasy. I can't live without going outside. Like even if even when it's cold, like I need to go outside. Yeah. Green juice. Green juice.
Like literally, no, she won't live if she.
I can't live without like a good laugh, a good joke. I need to giggle a bit.
Like what you were doing at church yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was fantastic.
Nana, what is Mommy's favorite season?
Autumn, early fall, before it gets like super cold. I mean, we don't have autumn in Ghana, so I guess I don't know hamatans.
The closest, no, it'll be rainy season.
Beginning of rainy season.
No, right now.
Oh, sorry. So when obviously in the northern hemisphere, well, in temperate zones, it's autumn. In tropical zones, she likes the rain. She loves seeing greenery. So when it's raining, because her garden can grow, and then I harvest it. I eat her vegetables.
Yes, I grew up for Nana.
Basically, she likes growing. I like to eat it. So it works.
Okay, Mommy, what outfit did Nana wear all the time as a kid and your parents complained about?
Shut up, Jocelyn. Don't mind her. Pay attention. With the ripped t-shirt?
We went to drop you at school.
I thought you were gonna. I thought the ripped t-shirt with the little skirt. That was the style of the day, I love a good ripped t-shirt.
Yes,
I love a good ripped t-shirt. My parents hated it. My parents ripped clothing in general.
They don't like that.
They hate
Yeah.
that. I thought you were gonna say that little sailor girl dress that I used to wear. I wore it from like 2 to like 8 because I was obsessed with it.
Yes, you wore that dress forever.
Yeah,
It's true.
I was obsessed with that dress.
And I'm sure Mom did what she usually does when she sees that we like things like that. Yeah.
Just throw it away.
Yes. Out of
Not
sight,
throw it
out of-
away, but like
Out of sight, out of
her
mind.
thing was if you've outgrown it, why hold on to it?
Yeah.
It could be helping somebody else.
Yeah. I had this one T-shirt, and one day I went back and it wasn't there anymore.
It was gone.
It was gone. She was like, no, now you have all these other things. You can wear that. So I did, and I was okay.
We hope.
Now, who is Mame's oldest friend?
The person I'm gonna say, are you guys still friends though?
Yeah.
I would say your second oldest friend because you're still friends with that person. That's Yome, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yome.
Yeah.
Mame, what is Nana's biggest pet peeve?
I have so many. I just need a warning. I just feel like don't just do it, you know?
That was easy.
Oh, this is a juicy one. Now, who did Mommy take to prom? Or who took Mommy to prom?
This guy called G. I literally don't know his full name. It was just G. I promise you. I just right me boy.
Yeah.
G. That was his name.
I can't remember his last name now.
Literally a guy named G. That was it.
I think his first name was Gerald.
It wasn't Gordon?
Was it Gordon?
I doubt.
No, I think it was a G-E. Something is Gerald.
So it was J? G. G. It was a gentleman named G. I don't remember.
Could it have been Grant or
No, it was just
George?
G.
No.
Girl, the fact that you don't remember,
Gerald?
it was just G.
G?
G. Somebody named G.
Final answer. G.
And I'll be honest, I did not understand that prom date. I didn't understand the prom date choice.
Because at that time he had moved away, so we're no longer in the same school, but we stayed friends, and he wanted to come to our prom anyway. So I was like, all right, fine. He's like,
She did when in the charity work when there were better candidates around.
Uncle G. Uncle G, leave a comment. So we know you're there.
well,
Mommy, if Nana had to share a room with one family member, who would she choose?
me.
Nobody.
It's true. That's actually a real answer. That's why I said me.
That's true. If you had to, it would be Mommy.
Yeah, if she had to.
Like if there was no choice,
Absolutely no choice. Which of your siblings would you share a room with?
siblings or family members.
Family members, it's still me.
It would still be Mommy.
Yeah, I could share.
Not your
a
mom. Well, yeah, our mom. Yeah.
Not mom. Mom gets too many relatives from Kumasi calling her
Calling.
at like odd hours. So I'll just be up at 2 in the morning because it's a problem.
And you know how parents are, they have to answer every single phone call. I don't get it. I don't get it. As old as we are.
Y'all don't know the
get it.
can't talk right now message?
Yeah. I'm quick to D&D. Oh.
Everything is urgent, even when it's not.
Yeah.
So.
8 p.m. Please don't call me after 8.
Yeah, D&D.
You're not going to get me.
Never.
Yeah, nah.
D&D all day. I go on D&D
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, D&D. After 8, please. Deal with your families.
What is Mommy's favorite childhood memory?
I mean, she had 5 years worth of childhood memories where I wasn't there involved. Maybe even 8 because my age of consciousness is probably what 2 or 3. So I don't know.
What about one with you when you were kids?
My favorite childhood memory was the day she was born. Well, not the day she was born, the first day I met her. Because our birthdays are also 3 days apart. And so I went to visit her on my birthday. And my mom showed something, you know, a dark face, nice hair, so curly and, you know, just long in a yellow one piece, you know, onesie. And she's like, Maame, happy birthday. And I'm looking at this thing like, oh my gosh, my mom bought me a doll. And then it moved. Here she is now, all those years later.
Hi, Barbie.
She's my real Barbie. The real one.
People are doing too much with this Barbie thing.
Seriously, but that's what I considered her, my doll, for so many years. I would always say she's my doll. My birthday present.
Chobi.
Chobi Odie. See, I Chobi the crowd watch me. It's not fair. This life, no balance.
Chobi.
This is the final one. I think it was supposed to be fun. Maame, is Nana a Bloody Mary or a mimosa girl?
Mimosa.
Green juice. Oh.
Get out. Mimosa.
Yeah, I'm a mimosa person.
Yeah.
So if you're still here, it's very likely that you like what you see. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. When I started Healing Greatly, I wanted to have healing conversations that could help those who desire to heal to get the tools and resources and the conversations to deepen their healing journey. Now, every time you subscribe, it means that my channel grows. And as my channel grows, I can use that for incredible currency to get even better guests and even more popular names and even bigger names on my show. So go ahead and show me that what I'm doing is making the desired impact by going ahead and subscribing. Thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, remember that thing I said about if you're here, you probably like what you see? Yeah, go ahead and hit that like button too and leave us a comment to let us know we are on the right track. So, we've talked quite extensively about our relationship, and I'm sure there are people watching this imagining and thinking to themselves, how do I get there with my sister or my sister friend? And so I want to talk specifically about the healing part. We've already touched a little bit on the importance of contending in a fair way.
Yeah.
And I'm very careful about using simple platitudes like, oh, it's just call your sister, it's not a big deal. Because families are different, dynamics are different, struggles are different, people go through different things.
Trauma is also eminent.
Trauma is, people have their own trauma. I mean, I've heard stories that to me is just heartbreaking beyond. Save situations that are actually like, you probably need a professional for that one. How can someone start on a healing journey with their sister?
It's funny you said you don't want to hear just call or just, you know, but honestly, it starts with a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you may not realize that your sister may also be thinking along the same lines, you know, not exactly what you're thinking. And you shouldn't expect that, right? But at least, you know, just, you know, back to the black skirt. Nana, you know I love your black skirt. I'm just going to take it.
Yeah, also just ask, like, be nice and ask for it. If I say no, accept my no, respect who I am. So,
oh, but the skirt looked good. But anyway.
So me sitting over here being triggered by something that happened, I was like 10, 12. I think I was 12.
That skirt now. Anyway.
You jacked that skirt.
Girl, that skirt was cute.
And then when I asked you for it, you had the nerve to be annoyed. You were like,
no.
It looks better on me.
Yes.
So I've never been more offended in my life.
Anyway. But seriously, back to it. It starts with a conversation. Just a, hey, what you did, I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I just wish you would have
Talk to me about it. Ask me.
Yeah. That's where it starts.
I think it's manifold, if you ask me. I look back on our journey and I think of how did we get to a place where I know that even if I'm upset, like, even if you do something to upset me, I'm able to sort of contend with myself as well to say, maybe I should look at my own assumptions and figure out if what I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah.
I think part of it also is, I mean, I always joke and say that you're a bit gullible, which, you know, we joke about that. Like, someone would be like, the sky is green. Really, when?
That's wonderful.
That's wonderful. But I think that the value in that is, do take people at face value. Give people the room to make you smile. And if they do otherwise, find the way to have a hard conversation.
That's it.
I think if you want any kind of valuable relationship, have hard conversations. I know that the people that in my life who I've distanced myself from has been because they didn't want to go there with me. They didn't want to contend with me.
Yeah.
They didn't want to have hard conversations with me.
Yeah.
And so I believe that true healing really lives in the place of contend.
Yeah.
Have the difficult conversation and never.
It's okay.
It's okay. But also, like, never shy away from saying, "Oop, my bad."
Yeah.
My bad is the easiest thing you can say to someone. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And move past intention and think about impact.
Exactly.
It was not my intention to make you feel this way, but I recognize the impact that it has on you.
That's it.
The impact my words have had has been negative. So for that reason, I apologize for the impact.
Yeah. And we can always take it right back to the top.
Take it to the
Parents.
top. You feel like it's parents? Parents
also play a major role in reconciliation.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones who started it. You know, sorry. They play a very major role.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be related.
Number one. And number two, if you weren't, comparing us, this wouldn't exist. So then you take it back to them and you say, hey, I'm not talking to Nana, but I really want to reach her, and
what if you don't have parents to sort of draw back
and
to?
That's all I was going to say. In our example, we have that kind of mom, right?
Yeah.
Who will call us both to order.
Call us out.
She'll call us out big time, right? But in case where you don't have that, then maybe, hopefully you have another sibling. But if you don't have another sibling, then the work is on you.
Or a professional.
Or professional.
If there's willingness to bring in a mediator. So what I'm receiving from what you're saying is important to have a mediator.
Yes.
Where both parties respect.
Respect, exactly.
To be able to at least feel like there's fairness in that exchange.
Exactly.
Either way, it goes back to conversations, contending, seeing yourselves as two people on the same side of the issue.
Exactly.
Even if we don't agree, we're on the same side of the issue.
That's it. And your disagreement is probably a unique response to what's happening, which may come up later to that we can use to our advantage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. Everybody has and that's the thing too.
Yeah.
I think recognizing that everybody's opinion on something, unless it's harmful,
of course,
it's usually valuable.
Yes.
Because you see it this way, I see it that way.
And it's perfectly fine.
Right. Is there a place where both our scenarios are true or both our scenarios can be tested?
Yeah.
And I think being willing to be like, okay, I'm willing to go your way. But that requires trust.
Yeah.
So I think that a huge part of healing is also that trust.
Yeah.
Trusting that if I bring my concerns to you, it will be received.
Yeah.
And I think in as much as because I think it's a very important point to be made, in as much as we want to be able to express ourselves, we also have to be willing to hold space. So, and as much as I want you to hold space for me, I need to hold myself accountable for how well I hold space for you.
Exactly.
Because I've also realized that once you let somebody know that I'm not your enemy and I really want to hold space for you, that's when they start to talk, and that's how the trust is built.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think it comes, like you said, it comes down to your own self-work and your own ability to hold space for the other person. Like, you want to heal this relationship, you have to be willing to hold space for that other person as well, for them to come and say, you know, what I was really going through was XYZ.
Yeah.
And it resulted in me treating you this way.
Yeah.
And if that person wants to say, I'm sorry, they say I'm sorry. But they have to know that they can trust you with that sorry.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
if you want a friend, maybe start by being a friend.
Exactly.
If you want a sister, maybe start by being a sister.
And that's, you know, going back to the point you made about, you know, always thinking that I'm a bit gullible. You know, that's really it right there, right? Because for me to hold space for someone means that I am optimistic. I am also, you know, accepting the person whole.
Yeah.
Right. So I do see, you know, like, you know, in the example of the sky is green. I know very well the sky is in green. You know, I can see everything.
Yeah.
However, I choose to believe what you're saying, or that the sky is green, just so that if there's anything else that can be uncovered within that green space, I'll be able to draw it in, and I'll be able to deal with the person better.
That was a huge lesson that I learned. And somebody who also helped me that with my friend Nana, who has the yoga studio here. We actually have a podcast episode with her. She said that sometimes just life with the person. You know, sometimes, and I always struggled with this because I have so many ideas, and part of my isolation is like, okay, I don't eat meat, so I don't, you know, I'm kind of a bit of an extreme personality sometimes, right? Like, I've worked very hard to not be so all or nothing, but and I think that's where you come, that's your thinking. Maybe let me just life with the person.
Yeah.
Maybe let me journey with them under this green sky.
Yes.
And see what else I learn about them.
Exactly.
And I think that is a huge part of also healing. Like we already said, if you want to heal the other person, maybe start with your own healing.
Exactly.
If you want a friend, maybe start by being a friend.
Right.
And if you want a sister, start by being a sister.
Thank you for being
A friend. Travel down.
You know the song, I don't.
Travel down the road and back again. Do. Wait. You're a friend and a confidant. So are we doing the gospel version? I can't riff like that. So thank you for being a friend. I mean, you're my sister, but like I had no choice in that. But friend, I have a choice in it. So thank you for being. Thank you for being a friend. So you just watched Healing Greatly, a show created by me, Nana Konamah, to help people heal greatly. Thank you so much for giving us our attention. We hope that this conversation would have the desired impact, which is essentially to create a whole community of individuals who are healing and thriving. If you're looking for me, head over to Instagram to follow my page. You can also go to nanakonamah.com. And of course, you can leave a comment, and you can like, and you can subscribe right here on YouTube.